In this video, we're going to talk about mind maps in Whimsical. We're going to cover creating a mind map, the contextual toolbars, moving nodes, and then a few examples of how mind maps can be used. And just so you know, there are chapters in the timeline below that correspond with these four subjects that we're going to be talking about. So just to orient you in the board real quickly, we are in mind maps mode right here, and you can do any of the four modes inside of a single board, but for now, we're going to stick with mind maps. Now, being in mind maps mode means that you have this option, which is not available in any of the other modes, and so this is to add a new mind map, and the other five under it are available no matter which mode you're in. So with that, let's jump into creating a mind map. Much like sticky notes, there are a few different ways to create a new mind map on the board. The first would be to hit the icon from the main toolbar, and then you can drag it out and click and create it this way. The other way would be to hit the keyboard shortcut M for mind map, and you can create a mind map that way. And finally, you can also double click on the board anywhere and create a new mind map. So 3 different ways, all equally effective. So now that we've created our mind map, let's go over how you add branches and nodes to it. When you select your mind map, you'll see you have these quick add buttons, and that is an easy way to start adding branches. So if you click here, you can add a branch, and you can add a child to this branch by clicking this quick add button again. So let's do that. And if you go back here and instead click this button, you will create a sibling. So we can do that. Now, these buttons also correspond to keyboard shortcuts, which, if you think about it like a bullet list, it functions in a very similar way. So to create our child here, the first branch, we'll hit Tab. And then if we want to create another child of this, we can hit Tab again. Or if we want to create a sibling, we can hit Enter. And those are the 2 main keyboard shortcuts that are helpful to know, and I would really recommend learning those and using them because the mind mapping experience is much faster generally if you are using the keyboard shortcuts. But if you want to stick with the quick add buttons, that's totally cool too. Let's talk for a minute about contextual toolbars. The first is the root node, which has a number of options. You'll see here there are some text styling options such as bold and italic. Here you can change the entire orientation of the mind map, so you can flip to vertical, and you can also change the style of the line. So right now we have curvy, and there's also angular. Another option that you have is to add an icon. So for Tesla, we could add a car icon, and you can add a link to any of the nodes. So let's go ahead and do that. And now that we've added that, if you hover over it, you can click and it will take you to that URL. Finally, you have the collapse option that's here, which you can use Command / or Control / on a PC. And this will collapse all of the children associated with your selection. And you'll see in the bubble that has a number, and that is the number of children that are collapsed, and you can click on this to expand them. So that's what's happening over here. I've already created some children here, and you can click to open it and click to close it, and you can of course also do that from the contextual toolbar here. The contextual toolbar for non-root nodes, so any of the other ones, looks like this. It's almost identical. The one exception is you have a dash option for these lines, and so that you can do that and style them that way. Moving nodes is pretty intuitive, but I'll demo it here for you so you know what's going on. The first thing that you can do is you can drag nodes, and you can do this and you'll see where they're going to attach by what the line is doing. So pretty simple. And then the other thing that can happen is if you drag a branch or a node out farther away from the mind map, it will actually create its own root node. So you can do this, or you can drag it back in and it will merge with an existing node. The other thing you can do is you can click and drag and select multiple, and then you'll get the same thing but for all three. So you can just click and drag more than one at the same time. And finally, you can also switch sides. So you can just drag to another side and that will work as well. Now we're going to look at a few examples of what mind maps can be used for. In general, anything that has structure, any data that is hierarchical in nature will be really well suited for a mind map. In this case, the first example is that of a list. Now you have different categories of these tools and then the actual tools themselves with links to them. Another perfect use case for mind maps is a site directory or a sitemap. So here we have the full Amazon site directory, all the different categories that they have on their site. And a mind map is a fantastic way to get a high-level view of it so that you can make sense of it or make updates, work on it with teammates, etc. And you can also tackle longer pieces of content, such as the Enneagram, which has these 9 types, each of which has quite a bit of detail under them. So the possibilities are endless, and hopefully these examples give you a few ideas of what you can use mind maps for.